In this video, we're going to go over horizontal menu. Now, you will see this a lot in websites. Web developers, they do this a lot. You can see over here we have our unordered list. Now we have done this before. You know what unordered lists are, okay? So now you can see what is holding this unordered list. You can see up here we created a nav tag, and this is a navbar. Now what this is simply telling the browser, that this is going to be a navbar, okay? That is what this nav tag is doing. It's simply telling the browser that this is going to be a navbar, okay? So that's why we put this nav here. So this is our unordered list and our list items as we have here. So we are going to be creating a menu in this video, okay? A horizontal menu. As you can see over here, this is how it looks on our web page, but we are going to be styling this inside of our CSS, okay? So now let's just quickly go over to our CSS and start styling this. Now if we go over to our CSS, first thing we need, we get our nav, we open it, and then what do we want to style with this nav? Since this is our navbar and this is telling the browser that this is going to be our navbar, as you all know, the navbar is the first thing on a website, okay? So we are going to give this a width. We're going to give this a width of 100%. The reason we are giving this a width of 100% is because we want the navbar to take the whole width of the screen, okay? From the start to the end, we want it to take the whole width of the screen. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to style the unordered list. So we say nav UL. As you can see, we are following the working tree. We first got our nav, and then after our nav we got our unordered list. So after our unordered list, we are going to get our list item. After our list item, we are going to get our anchor tag. So that's how this works, okay? So now let's work with the unordered list. So what do we want to give the unordered list? First of all, we are going to give this unordered list a background color. We're going to give this unordered list a background color of teal. Now you can use any color if you want, but we're going to give it a background color of teal. And what do we want to give this next? We're going to give this a padding of 0, because we don't want anything, any space. We don't want anything shifting around. And we're going to give this a margin of 0 as well, because we don't want any margin, anything giving any space inside of our navbar. So this is a good practice, padding of 0 and the margin of 0. The next thing we need to do, we need to give it an overflow of hidden. Overflow hidden. So this is the property, overflow of hidden. Now what this overflow of hidden is doing is simply anything that is overflowing inside of our navbar. If maybe our text is overflowing inside of our navbar, if it's overflowing outside of the navbar, hide it. That's what this overflow of hidden is doing. Or maybe if we have an image inside of our web page, if the image is overflowing out from a particular place that you positioned it, you are simply telling the browser to hide it, okay? That's what this overflow of hidden is doing. So anything overflowing, just hide it. That's what we are telling the browser. So this is a good practice. So you need to add this. So after the nav UL, we are going to go to nav UL. After the nav UL, we get our LI, which is our list item, okay? So let's first of all, let's refresh this and see how it looks. So if we refresh now, this is how it looks. You can see this is our navbar, and you can see our list items, they are still here. So we are still going to be styling this. Now the reason there is space here by the left hand side, this is the default browser margin it's adding. So if we add a margin of 0 to the body, so if you go back to your code and add a margin of 0 to the body, we won't have this space, okay? So if you want to do that, you can do that, but I'm not going to be adding a margin of 0 to the body, so we are going to leave this space here. But inside the navbar, you can see there is no margin. Inside of the navbar, there is no padding. That's why we gave it a margin of 0 and a padding of 0. So let's go back to our code. So for the list item, what do we want to do with this list item? So we are going to give this list item a list style of none. Now what this list style of none is doing if you can remember those 3 bullet points, those 3 dots that was by the left hand side of our list item, by giving it a list style of none, it will automatically remove those 3 dots. So I know you can't see the 3 dots now, but if we refresh this, it has automatically removed those bullet points, those dots. Okay, so that is what the list style of none is doing. It will automatically remove those dots. Okay, so what do we want to do next here? We want to float this list item to the left because we want it on the left hand side, so we float it left. Float left. So if we go back and refresh this now, we refresh. Now you can see how this looks. I know it's not looking good, but don't worry, we are still going to be styling this. So we have floated it now to the left, and you can see it's on the left hand side. So let's go back, let's go to our code editor here. So the next thing we need to do, as I said, we need to get our anchor tag. So say nav ul li and then anchor tag. So what do we want to style here? Let's create some space here. First of all, we want to display this in a block. So it's good to display this in a block. Make sure you display it in a block. Display block. The next thing we need to do is some text decoration. Text hyphen decoration. Now what this, we're going to give this a text decoration of none. Now what this text decoration of none is doing, it will remove the underline. The underline from those texts, it will remove it because we don't want that. So if you refresh this now, you can see those underlines. If you can notice, you can see that those underlines are gone. So that's what the text decoration of none is doing. The next thing we need to do here, we need to give this a padding because we need some space. We need some spaces there inside of our navbar. So we're going to give this a padding of 14 pixels. Okay, padding of 14 pixels, and then we're going to give this a font size, font hyphen size. We're going to give this a font size of 20 pixels. So if we refresh this on our web page, as you can see our padding. You can see the spaces all around of the text. You can see the space. So this is our padding. Okay, and this is you can see the font size now. The text is now bolder. So this is a font size of 20 pixels. So that is that. So if we go over to our anchor tag here, so what do we need to style here? We don't really need to do much anymore. We have given it a display of block, text decoration of none, padding of 14 pixels, and a font size of 20 pixels. So what we need to work on with, what we need to do now is to give it a hover effect. Okay, we want to give it a hover effect, thereby when a user comes to our web page and hover over this link, they are going to get a beautiful hover effect. So how to do that? We need to create an action. Now to create an action, we need to use the hover. So how we do this, you say nav ul list items and then the anchor tag. Now after this anchor tag, you use a colon. To create this hover effect, you use a colon, and we call this an action. So you use your colon and then you specify hover. Okay, so just like that, and then you open it. Now what do we want to, how do we want this action to do? What do we want this, how do we want this action to behave? So we want to give this action a background color of red. Background color of red, and we're going to give it a color of white. If we go back now, we refresh this. Refresh now. I want you to see how this will behave when we hover over it. So if we hover, you can see. So you can see how beautiful this looks. So this is our hover effect. Okay, so that is how to create an horizontal menu. You can see our menu is straight all the way to the ending of the screen. So that is how to create a horizontal menu. We are going to be building a full website. We are going to be building a full website in future tutorials. So I just want to give you a glimpse of how to build a navbar, but don't worry, we are going to be building a full website where we are going to build a responsive navbar that will fit in both desktop and mobile. Okay, so we are going to be working with images, text. We are going to build a full website. We are also going to be working with the footer. We're also going to be building the footer. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse of how to build a navbar. Okay, so that is it for this video concerning the horizontal menu, as you can see, as we have created here. Yeah, so that will be it for this video, guys. I will see you guys in the next